Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. So much for not buying any more video game stuff this year. I broke that real quick, right? Today, I wanted to talk to you about the lost art, and it really is a lost art of the game guide. Of course, this is Prima. Prima had some great ones. There are other publishers out there, right? But let me tell you this, I take this approach as a collector that I want to enhance the best games that I have. And I do that through several things, whether it's some merchandise that goes along with the game that's meaningful, or game guides. And that's really my primary. I own a lot of game guides, right? Probably the most expensive ones that I have are for Shin Megami Tensei, right? Persona. And let me tell you, it does enhance the experience for me, right? Not for everybody, but for retro gamers, I think we have a different feel about these things because we remember our times where, it wasn't just about, right? It wasn't just about, the set of moves. It was more than that. You had, perspective from whoever's making the game guide, right? Interacting with them. If it's, somebody that was online. Easter eggs, that would put Easter eggs inside the game guides. There's so many great game guides, guys. But, for example, this one here, what I like about this particular game guide is the artwork, right? So I have the collector's edition for this. This is my last Street Fighter that I, really played, that I was into. And, I have the collector's edition, which, of course, has a figurine of Sea Viper, which is, or Crimson Viper. A lot of people call her, I just call her Sea Viper because that's how they abbreviate a lot of stuff. But it's a lost art. It really is. Most developers now won't even explore these ideas, won't even look at it as a revenue stream, because everything is on the internet now. And let me tell you, it's not a better experience. I'm sorry. Actually having physical media for something like this it does enhance the experience. I just don't do it for the, how would I say, the value, right? Yeah, sure. When I'm gone and somebody wants to sell this and you have the game and the game guide, you can charge more money for it because not a lot of people are going to have it, right? There's a certain shelf life to these game guides and they go up in price. Right, I think the most expensive one that I own right now is about $150 for, I think it's Persona Revelations is the most expensive one that I have. But some become rarer, and it's more, right? It's more than just instructions to a game. The game guide can become a piece of art itself and part of your enjoyment of the game. And it's something that's completely lost in today's market, right? We don't value, retro gamers, of course, they value, but today's market, doesn't value what game guides have to offer. A lot of it actually has to do, unfortunately, with reading. People don't like reading. They don't. They don't, guys. The reason I'm more successful at my job than other people in my industry, right? People that sometimes say, oh, I deserve that promotion or I deserve that raise, whatever. It's very simple. I read more. Do I love reading? No. But sometimes, it's like for the money they pay us, you wouldn't read for that? I mean, there's things that I don't like doing, right? Like mopping. But is there a number you could pay me to mop? Right? Like if you doubled my salary right now and just told me, hey, tomorrow you're mopping. That's all you're going to be doing from now on, mopping. I would be the happiest mopper in the whole planet. But you shouldn't have to get paid to enjoy art. And some art is written, right? Not all art is visual. So there's more to the game guide than just pictures and set moves that you don't have to read. It's not only what's written about the characters, the background, what's in between the lines. What's the perspective of the person writing it? Who is it? Not all writers are the same. Not all game guides are the same. And, to me, it's nostalgia. course. But to me, it's a lost art that doesn't make the game industry better. And there's so many advantages with technology nowadays, as far as graphics, as far as game delivery, and all this stuff. But I think that's another marketing piece that people are missing nowadays, and I think it's something that retro gamers specifically, right? When they're doing these Kickstarter projects, when they're doing, I don't know, indie projects, it's something they miss, right? And it's something that's easier to do sometimes than other methods of marketing. Some people create coins, stamps, this and that. There's plenty of presses, man. There's plenty of presses in their press for business. You can have your game guide. You can use it as a, I almost said my idea. I don't want to give away my idea because I plan to implement it in the future, right? So, but I have this idea for physical media, a passion project of mine. But I'll whenever I'm ready to launch it, I'll tell you it's video game related, it's physical media related. Of course, there'll be other things, but I don't want to talk about it just yet. But what I want to do is I want to fill the gaps of the experience that I feel gaming is missing, right? And I'm not the only one. Sometimes games feel empty. And when games feel empty, is because you're not as immersed in the game for whatever reason. It could be the gameplay, X, Y, or Z, or sometimes you really like a game and you just want more. You want more of the background of the character. You want more as far as Easter eggs. You want more as far as the backstory, right? Where do they come from? What's their background? Why are they the way they are, right? Why did the producer or writer decide to make a character a certain way? And in your favorite characters, that always happens. But writing is so light these days that they don't give enough gravity to video game characters for you to care, right? For the deeper story. Sometimes you can even have an action game, It could be very violent for whatever reason, but you're very interested in the backstory. Even if the backstory is not particularly long, the points of impact of their story, the reason, it could be emotional, it could be revenge, it could be circumstance, something really bad happened to them. All those things are sometimes really not explained in games today. Games will hold your hand to let you know how to play until you get the game, and then you have to spend 50, 100 hours per game. When I think sometimes, just like what I do, and I'm sure plenty of you do it out there if you're watching this, you just want to sit down in game room and just read a little more about what you care about. Do some research on your favorite characters. Do some research on the game itself. Where do they come up with these quirky ideas? Read about Dan and his origin story. You know it out there if you're a Street Fighter fan, right? But it's always, nice to reminisce. Am I living in the past? To an extent, as far as enjoyment, yes. But there is a great revenue opportunity for you because there are fans like me, right, who pay money for these older ones. Could you include it in your next project? How much more would you charge for the game, right? Could it be a perk if you hit a certain goal? Of course. All those things will make your game stand out if you decide to produce it. It's an art that's lost, and I think it's a business opportunity and a great marketing product that you can use on your next video game. All right, humans, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.